For this warm-up, one of the things that I want you to notice is if you have this x squared, this guy right here, come on, there we go. You can treat it one of two ways. You can either treat it as a repeated linear, or you can treat it as a quadratic. But what you don't want to do is do both, right? You don't want to do it as an a over x plus a bx plus c over x squared. You either do constants over x and x squared or linear over the x squared. Right? You do either one, just don't combine it. I do this. It's easier to solve for the a, b, and c if you do that, but you could do this and you'd be just fine. Right? You'd still be able to do it and you'd get it correct and there wouldn't be any big deal. So whichever way is preferable to you is fine. Yes? Did you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, so there's your solution. And so I got a c of -2, a b of -1 by plugging in a -1 and a 0, and then I just picked 1 to find out that a was 2. But you can pick any number you want to plug in. Once you get that and you rewrite your integral with the partial fractions, the only difference between this and what we did yesterday is this is a definite integral, so you have to plug the numbers in, right? So plug in a 5, subtract plugging in a 1, and you end up with this. What I personally did was I went ahead and took all the natural logs and combined them, and then reduced the fraction, and then said, hey, look at that, it's 25 over 9, they're both perfect squares, so I went ahead and put the 2 out front and made it 2 ln 5/3. So, but if you got to here, that is good, it means you got the correct answer. This would be a multiple choice question. So if it's a multiple choice question, chances are the answer could very well look like that. So you have to be able to go from here to here without too much angst. Right? Questions? Comments? Everyone's okay? Okay, good. Oh, homework questions. So I will put 27 up in just a few minutes. By the way, yesterday I stayed after school, and you know what, I am going to show you something. And I'm going to go ahead and let this be on the film because someone was asking me anyway about my website, so I might as well just show you real quickly. So if you have not yet been on my website, you should go to the website, right? So anyway, so this is the main page, and this is the main calculus page, right? And on the main page for calculus, you have the calendar, which I just updated today because I found all of the Chapter 10 homework assignments. So I found them on a hard copy, so I went ahead and typed them all in. And then, of course, there's your online textbook. But if you want to look at the resources, within the chapters, we're currently on the integration techniques unit. So if you go here to any of the units, you've got your Smartboard notes, any worksheets and reviews, and any videos that are made. I had a problem yesterday. The video, if the video gets to a certain file size, my camera automatically stops it and then starts with another file. So it split yesterday into 2 parts. The first part is the biggest part. It's like 40 minutes long. That's in there, no problem. The second part, for some reason, the upload didn't work. So when I get home, I have to re-upload it, and so then I will get that fixed. And then I'll also put today's in. So yesterday's video, for the most part, is there, but the last few minutes of the lesson got cut off. So anyway, yesterday, so someone was asking me about Smartboard notes. So every day, I post the Smartboard notes. And if you look at yesterday's notes, so I went ahead and worked out the top 5 homework problems. Stop. It took a while. That's one. Then the next one's not so bad. The next one's not so bad. The next one's not Careful. That one, this one was the fun one, 87. The first one and the last one. It took me a little while. So, but I got it. So anyway, I know. So it's there. It took me an hour after school to sit there and write out all those problems. But they're there. So if you did have questions about the homework that was due yesterday, the problems are on the smart workouts if you need to see them. Anyway, so that's there. I even already loaded today's notes, but if we make major updates, I'll just load them again. Alright, so that's the site. Yes. So, today we're going to put trig, u-sub, and partial fractions all together. It's really just more partial fractions with a little bit of review. So, take a close look at this integral. Suppose you are taking a test and you see an integral sine over cosine plus cosine squared. You look at it and you think, I'm just not sure what to do. You could maybe replace the cosine squared with like a power reduction identity or something, and then you're like, yeah, but does that really help me? No. What to do? Right? Then you notice, hey, the denominator factors, right? Okay. So whenever the denominator factors, we can use partial fractions, right? You can keep this in terms of cosines and be fine with partial fractions, but it gets kind of, it's hard to find the A's and B's and C's. So there's a way to simplify the integral before you try to break it up to make your life a lot easier. So for us, what we're going to do is we're going to let u equal cosine x. Let's do it. If u is cosine x, what is du?
Negative sine x dx.
Negative sign, are you sure?
Yes.
Negative sine x dx, right? So then what you do is you rewrite the integral so you rewrite the integral in terms of u's. So I want you guys to take a second, I'll put this back up in case you want to think through it. So I want you to take a second, I want you to rewrite the integral in terms of u, and then solve it using partial fractions.
Right. you get A equals 1
So
equals
your
negative 1?
x minus
I got A as -1 and B as 1.
That's what I got.
No.
Okay,
Yes.
so all three
Let's do it.
Okay, so you got 1 equals A times u plus 1 plus B where you right? And then you plug in negative 1.
Oh, okay.
Plug in negative 1, you get
I plugged in U as 1.
u as 1 would get you 2,
Oh,
not.
Yeah.
So B equals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like the bottom.
A equals negative.
Yeah, that's not next to him.
Okay, so, when, just so you
No, B is still 1. Because you cancel out the A, right? I'm just going.
This is 1.
Negative 1.
No, it's 1. 1 equals.
I'm like, my heart is breaking around this.
No. So you have sine of x.
Oh, I just left the
Yeah, you took it out.
You can take it out though.
This is why I don't bother taking it out. So you know, you gotta redo everything.
but it's just easier.
Sort of.
No, in the end,
Let's put it this way. In the end, we're gonna agree. I know you're gonna get the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, way too. We disagree. I like it, Brian.
How did you do with your original substitution? Any questions on the original, the first step, setup? I will tell you, looking at your quizzes, your weekly quizzes, it is not my students or Mr. Thomas's students, it's pretty equally well distributed, the DX laziness, right? So you can't be a lazy DXer. You have to be a very intentional with your DXs and your DUs and everything like that. Yeah, good. So don't be a lazy DXer, right? Make sure you're writing DX or DU or D theta or whatever it is that is appropriate for every each of us. It's very important, it does have. Did you guys get your A and B?
Yeah.
Are you guys already done?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, that's what I got. You could combine the logs if you want. Doesn't pass?
Got it.
Are there questions? No questions? You feel okay with that? All right, so here's another one. You know what's fun about this one? If you don't write this in terms of u, if you leave it with ease, it can be solved, but it's not easy. So it's not. It's actually very tricky to solve if you leave it in terms of ease. So it's much easier if you do a u substitution on this. Did your dad go to U of M? He was here. He just didn't, he came in late, because there was someone, so there was a man who came in a little bit late, so I didn't, but he was we had this whole back and forth because I went to Michigan State. He's like, oh, why would you go to Michigan State, right? This whole, oh, look at that! No, did your family go to Michigan State? Okay, see, so the first question was, because my only thing is,
As you?
why would you pick Michigan State, right? And then, so I just told like both my parents went there, right?
Never mind.
Oh, man, and so then he started telling me we went to U of M, but half my family, like aunts, uncles, cousins, half went to U of M, half went to Michigan State, so,
That's like my family.
yeah.
Like, 2 of my uncles went to Michigan State, 2 went to Michigan.
Is most of your family in Michigan?
Yeah, from my dad's side, they're all from Michigan. My dad actually moved to Michigan City.
What about you, your family, like, did your parents go to Michigan State? Really?
Are you going to Michigan State? So that's
It's a good school. You know, you're not gonna, it doesn't matter, if you go to a big school, you're gonna get a good education no matter which school you go to. So, you'll be fine. The only thing that I did not
Oh,
see
that's
in
fine.
Michigan State was that I had a lot of non-English students. professors in math, and it was hard to understand. Yeah, because I was a math major, so you get all the
Yeah, I know, that's the biggest fear.
that truly just don't speak English.
When you get stuff that.
Like, next yeah. Yeah. That's weird. That's almost what I like. That's a good exercise. That's lovely. What do you do? Nothing actually.
I didn't understand that guy. Must be
Dude, Nash. Oh, there goes my B. Yeah. Yeah. You get B. 110. B's 110?
Yeah.
I have B in 90.
Yeah.
No. And A's 110. No. Both of those are actually wrong. Yeah. What did you guys for A?
Negative 110.
You should not have a D on top.
Yeah.
Why
is this?
Hold on. Definitely does. I see what I'm doing wrong. Pretty much everything. I'm just running the entire board.
Wait, where did your U go? You said it U equals.
Yeah, guys, quietly for this one, and there's more than one student today that I've seen do the exact same thing. This is why those dx's are so important. So for this one, if you let u equal e to the x, your du is e to the x dx, right? So when you go back and do your substitution, the bottom is u plus 1 and u minus 9. But the top, e to the x dx, this whole thing is just du, right? So there is no u on top. Something's got to replace the du. So, yeah, that e to the x is gone.
Oh, sorry.
I don't think I've forgotten in a while.
Oh my god. I think.
She was like, I wish you were in my class. I was like, yeah, so do I.
You guys get all this crap? No. Yes. He just wrote it in the fabric. What do you mean, man?
Well, like we wrote ours another way. Like just order.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, it doesn't matter. Actually, I think this is the
That's what you guys got.
Yes. Oh, no.
How did we get first?
Man, that's because we're good.
You get it?
Smile and trying to watch you and wait for you to say something, and you're like,
Okay, so what do you want? Good, good. Oh,
I said u equals
it should still work.
Yeah, the numbers are weird, but it's
Yeah, I'm going to
It should still have the same answer.
Red receipts are gonna ruin my life. What is it? Red receipts on my phone. Like at the bottom of your thing, how it says like red time. You got the jumper. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, red. As in
Like you mean like R. Like
yes, I know.
yeah. You're gonna ruin my life.
Is that even like a red?
you're also there for
Holy yeah. My God. Red is sweet. I'm so sleepy. I went to bed at like 11. I mean, probably 11, 12.
Or Minecraft. Just in my line homework.
I did. And my physics one.
I appreciate it.
And your
Also,
physics
I.
Dude, just don't want to.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, but like, But like, oh yeah, read the messages. Like, because I opened the message and I just forget to respond.
Okay, good.
Don't understand how typing works. Typing is.
Okay, any other questions? Call me over if anyone else needs me to take a look. No? Okay. All right. Oops. Oh, you didn't see that. Okay. All right, so I've been going through old BC exams. Not old, but, you know, just past BC exams. And, oh, that's what I was, okay, going back. Okay. Oh. Did you get it? Good, okay. All right, so I've been going through past BC exams, right? And I've been kind of trying to wrap my head around what types of questions are asked on BC free response and what types are asked in BC multiple choice. And I will tell you that partial fractions, pretty much 100%, in every AP exam I've looked at so far, has only been in multiple choice. It's never been a free response question. So I went through and found a couple of semi-recent multiple choice problems and went ahead and said, oh, why don't we just try these? So we don't do a lot of multiple choice practice in this class, but I wanted to, I'm going to talk to you for a minute. So 2 years ago, I like to go to workshops, at least one every year. The College Board puts workshops on all the time, right? So a couple of years ago, I went to a workshop, and the person leading the workshop was a person who made their living writing multiple choice questions for the College Board. My former students, I've probably told you this already, okay? But my new students, I have not, right? So now I can tell it again without worry, right? Okay, new audience. So anyway, here is what she said. She said that when she submits a question to the College Board for use on an AP exam, she's got the question, she has to work through the whole problem and show how you obtain the correct solution, right? But not only does she have to do that, she has to also supply a fully worked out solution for every incorrect answer and justify how she came up with each incorrect answer. So what she has to do is for every problem, she thinks through what are the most common mistakes that students would make on this question. She makes the mistake and then works the full problem with the mistake and comes up with a solution, right? So every single answer on every single multiple choice problem has been obtained purposefully by someone working the problem through with some small mistake. Yes. So
You're like, yeah, I know.
exactly. Yeah. So anyway, so she said, just be warned that just because your answer matches doesn't mean it's right? They've gone through with the most common mistakes and said, okay, I'll bet you anything. Some students for this, like if you factor, x minus 4, x minus 2, they might factor x minus 4, x plus 2, right? Or here's a real common mistake that I've seen so far when I've been doing partial fractions, is if you have x minus 4, x minus 2, and you have a over x minus 4 and b over x minus 2, instead of intentionally multiplying through by the LCD and canceling properly, you put the a times the x minus 4 and the b times the x minus 2, and then you're switching them, right, with the wrong fractions. So that's a real common one. So, and that's up there. Right, so she is going to anticipate, of course, the most common mistake that you will see that is on every single problem involving sine and cosine is the signs, right? Saying that the derivative of cosine is sine, or the integral of sine is cosine, that kind of thing, right? Dropping those negatives. Yeah, so there will always be an answer with the dropped negatives as one of the choices. Yeah, so that's just keep you on your toes, right? Okay, so take about 5 minutes or so and do both of these. These are both no calculator multiple choice problems. My students, how can I look at a problem and know it was no calculator?
The numbers.
By the numbers. All no calculator multiple choice problems are numbered 1 through 28, right? All calculator multiple choice problems are 76 through 92.
There is no.
There is no 2097. What? What? Yeah.
Wait, why is that?
Okay, hey, who you're all my students, so who of my students from last semester can tell me why do they skip those problems? Yes, ma'am?
It's cause like the Scantron, you have to flip it over to the other side, and those numbers are still on the one side, but they want you to like flip it over for the calculator portion, and they don't want you to write in the wrong bubbles or something like that.
You're exactly right. So
Yeah.
the front side of you get this big Scantron sheet, right? The front side is numbered 1 to 75. And then the back side has 76 to 150. And so when you start the next section, they don't, if say you skipped number 28, they don't want you to accidentally start at the wrong problem number and be all wrong. So they have you flip the paper over and start at the first problem on the back side, which is 76. Isn't that thoughtful? I know. Good. Okay, so anyway, on no calculator, your average time is 2 minutes per question. So try to drill yourself, see if you can get each of these done in 2 minutes. Which is funny because starting in about a week or two, we will start doing an activity called 2-minute terror. Right?
Oh my God! Are these
I
graded?
just got this from Mr. Thomas today, I'm excited.
Miss Price, are these things graded?
No.
Oh,
They're just in classic.
So it doesn't matter.
These tests are not very difficult. They're really not. They're not conducive, especially if you read up long legs.
Where did I go
And
wrong?
people that are tall, you're going to hit your knees.
Oh, they are.
The first one. I got this.
Yeah, and then back, and you won't fall.
It's a wonderful stretch.
Yeah, don't do it the triangle way. The triangle way will make your life much worse.
Yeah, I know.
Who did for the first one? Yeah. Yeah.
He started way before everyone else.
I did. He's a cheater. He's a dirty cheater.
Yes.
Then I took a break though. I took a break between school. But listen to her talk.
No, you can do it for any. Oh, you're talking about like the number out front? Well, you'd have, yeah, that is true because you'd have to factor it out first, and then you could deal with this. Yes, that is a very good question. Oh, you know what you could do though if you wanted? You could make the coefficients exponents, and then you could combine them however you wanted. Yes, very good question.
For the subtraction, is that?
Yes, when you subtract logs, you divide the others. Yep.
Get D for the next.
I gotta warn you, Brian, people are gonna hear this noise on the video and think it's something else. So.
So when I get to this part, then it's just figuring out which of the forms is correct.
Yep, you have to simplify the log.
Awesome.
Yep.
You got A, right?
In 2008, you had to simplify the log. In 2003, you didn't.
Wow. Why did you make us do it now? That's not fair.
I mean, you do kind of have to simplify.
No, you don't.
No, 2003, you just have to flip the order. Yeah. Or at least
I know,
Because
yeah.
We smell the same from there.
Also, that's not good for you. What's this?
Oh, gosh.
You hear that, boys?
So it's just another method for finding the nodes. You can always, you don't have to do it. You can always just go and plug random numbers in for X and you get big systems of numbers.
The first one I got A.
Yes.
There's, if you want to plug in.
See, now that our clock is stay out, I have no idea how it's.
What? There's no way. There's no way you would do it. I wasn't. That was a very game to me earlier in the day. It was in my shirt pocket. It was literally an alpha. Just look at the order. Oh, it's -2, elementary.
Oh, A is 4, B is 2, -2. For second one.
A is 4, B is -2, correct?
No.
B is -3.
I got you. B is
We're in the state.
I should have Best redhead.
For the second one, did you get best redhead?
What? Oh, Panam found it out today. I told him other people do that. That's what they
So bad.
Okay, so it looks like pretty much everyone is done. So the first one, what did you get? A. A is correct, very good. Okay, for the next one, 2003, what did you get?
D.
Did you really get D? Did anyone not get D? You all got D, huh?
Yeah, B is check.
Okay, so, good. Alright. So, that's it. Now, what we're gonna do for the next 20 minutes is finish those 8-1 quizzes. We're gonna go ahead and shut off the camera.
This was a good
We do that for 10 minutes.